ancient folk tale, an elderly woman who lived in a village trekked daily to and from a stream near her home to supply her family with fresh water. She attached 2 heavy clay pots, one on each end of the pole, which she carried across her shoulders. Now, one of these pots was in perfect condition, and it always delivered a full measure of water. The other pot had a deep crack in it, which caused water to leak out of it. At the end of her long walk back from the stream, each day the cracked pot only arrived half full. Well, this went on for 2 years, with the woman bringing home only 1.5 pots of water. The perfect pot was, of course, very proud of its accomplishments, but the poor cracked pot was ashamed of its imperfection and miserable that it could only do half of what it had been made to do. After 2 years of what it perceived to be as abject failure, the cracked pot spoke to the woman by the stream. "I am ashamed," the pot said to her. "This crack in my sides causes water to leak out. You work so hard and yet have less water than you should have once you return home." The old woman smiled, and she replied to the pot, "Did you notice that there are flowers on your side of the path? I have always known about your flaw, so I planted flower seeds on your side of the path. Every day, while we walk back home, you watered those seeds and helped them to grow into something beautiful. For 2 years, I have been able to pick those lovely flowers to decorate the table and give to my friends and neighbors. Without you being just the way you are, there would not have been this special beauty to grace our homes and our lives." Last week, on the evening of Rosh Hashanah, I asked you to consider 2 questions. How have we failed God? And how have we failed others? We ask forgiveness from God for sins against God and that which belongs to God, such as our beautiful yet endangered planet. We ask forgiveness from other people whom we have hurt, our family, our friends, our community, our coworkers, etc. But tonight, I'm going to ask you to consider one more question. How have we failed ourselves? It is too easy to perceive all of our shortcomings under a microscope of negativity and self-criticism. Just as the woman's clay pot in this folktale was ashamed of its crack, not realizing that it actually became a blessing. We are also too hard on ourselves sometimes for our own cracks and our own flaws. Social media, print media, movies, and television often make us feel that we're not good enough unless we look like a model. We aren't successful unless we have made a huge name for ourselves or reached the pinnacle of our chosen profession. But you know what? None of those unattainable images of perfection are truly real. You, however, are real, flaws and all. I'm going to share something personal with you. I debated over this, but I'm going to share it anyway. I am my own worst critic. You can say things about me, but honestly, I can tell you that I'll criticize myself even more than anything that anyone can say about me. I pick apart every single aspect of myself, my looks, my voice, and no matter how many days in a row I work, I'll tell myself that is not enough. And one day, my husband, Dan, said to me, "If only you could see yourself the way that I see you." His kind words haven't completely stopped me from berating myself, but they have helped me to be conscious of the fact that maybe there is some good in me between the cracks after all. is a Leonard Cohen song called Anthem. Anybody know it? I'm going to sing the chorus. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. In our moments of brokenness, we can somehow find comfort, reassurance, healing, and inspiration. On this, our holiest of days, let us each remember that although we have flaws and have indeed made mistakes, we can learn, grow, and heal from them. Sometimes the things in our lives that haven't turned out the way we had hoped may actually serve as a blessing for others in ways that we may not have imagined. There is so much dysfunction in the world right now, so much hatred, so much suffering, so much devastation, and sometimes I feel like it's all too much. I find it's unbearable sometimes. Do you? And other days, I find a sliver of light and hope that shines through the many cracks in our lives and in our world. Like when I visit someone in the hospital who survived a terrible car crash, who clutches my hand, who at that moment needs me. Or when I'm called in by a family to say final prayers for a woman who grew up Jewish but left it behind in adulthood, surrounded in her home by those who love her, determined to make her exit from this world as beautiful and as peaceful as possible. I may never see some of these people again, but that's okay. In those fraught moments, they need me. Some of our best successes in life may happen in those small, sacred moments in which we touch the lives of others who are struggling and suffering. As Leonard Cohen's song reminds us, there is a crack in everything and in everyone, but somehow, through the crack, the light can shine in. In the Unatana Tokef prayer, we sing, Uteshuva, Utefila, Utsedaka, Ma'avirin et Roa Hagazera. As we each reflect this Yom Kippur on our own mistakes and our imperfections, our own cracks, let us use this process of teshuvah, turning back to each other, turning back to the sacred, tefillah, sincere prayer, and tzedakah, acts of righteousness and kindness towards others, to help the divine light shine in. May the light of healing and holiness that shines through each of our cracks bring blessings into our lives and into the lives of others. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. This new year, may God seal each of us and our loved ones in the book of life. Gemar Chatima Tova.